This here between my two hands is the manual for every single Muslim on the face of the earth. Every single Muslim believes in what I am holding between my two hands. Firstly, we have the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is the holy book for all of the Muslims around the world, regardless of denomination, sect or group. All Muslims believe in the Holy Quran. If someone does not believe in the Holy Quran, then they are not Muslim. They have to believe in the Holy Quran. We will not be interpreting the Holy Quran, but that will be a separate program. I have here 4 volumes of Sahih Al-Bukhari, to what was written in one of the volumes. And it was very shocking for the nation as to what exactly lies within these books. Today, I want you to know what exactly lies within the books that are considered sacred right after the Holy Quran. This book has influenced every school of thought, and even grand ayatollahs within the Shia school of thought, such as Fadlullah, Khamenei, Khomeini, and also lecturers such as Ahmad al-Wa'ili. All of them refer to this book and they abide by it. Some may call them undercover Sunni, undercover Wahhabi. That is understandable. But that's not what I am saying. I am saying this book is a book that has led to the deaths of many people. This is a formula of war. This is what has made Islam a religion of war. This is what needs to be banned. What was the line of thinking of this author? What on earth was he thinking when he compiled this? And why are the Muslims silent? When you go to a Muslim bookstore and you say, "Can you give me a copy of the Bukhari?" You would expect to get this, but instead they will give you this. They'll give you one volume that is made up of Arabic and English. They have cherry-picked and selected for you and translated for you what they want you to read from Sahih Al-Bukhari. They do not want you to read everything within Sahih Al-Bukhari. But this is not Al-Bukhari. This is a small compilation from what they want you to know about Bukhari. This is the real Bukhari. We who seek knowledge want to know what forms this radical ideology. We want to know what's in the book. The Muslims say that Prophet Muhammad is the best role model. They say that Prophet Muhammad is the best human being and that we should all follow him. So let's find out, what really is Muhammad like according to the Bukhari? The Prophet Muhammad that the majority of the people speak about and fight for and defend is not the Muhammad they believe in as an ideology. There's a big difference between the Prophet Muhammad in the actual sacred scriptures, but the sad news is it's all a fake. The Muhammad Linda Sarsour mentions is not the Muhammad she believes in. Today, I'd like to show you what exactly is written within these books regarding Prophet Muhammad, regarding their noble Prophet. What exactly do these books say? I'll start with volume 1. And I know the techniques of the radicals. These books are a big surprise to them. I'll have to show you up close that this is the Bukhari. This is Sahih Al-Bukhari. And this here is volume 1. And I will show you the license of the publication. Just for the record, you can pause the video later on. This was printed in Beirut, Lebanon, and it was printed by the publisher Dar al-Kutub al-Ilmiya. It was printed in 2014, and it is titled Sahih Al-Bukhari, the correct and authentic traditions of Al-Bukhari, and it contains prophetic hadith. This is volume 1. This is exactly what I was taught. Page 45 of this very book, volume 1, and segment 5. It is called Bab al-Takhfifi fi al-Wudu'. It speaks about the purification and purity of oneself before engaging in any form of prayer. Muslims wash themselves 5 times a day, meaning they wash the face, they wash the hands first, then the face, then they come to the 2 arms and wipe on the head, and then they wipe on the feet. This is called the ablution. It's called the wudu'. The wudu'. It's also pronounced wuzu or wudu. It is a must. There is no prayer accepted in Islam without that purification beforehand. They mention the Prophet Muhammad. They themselves, 95% of the Muslims believe in this. They say that the Messenger of God, Muhammad, came to a house, and I will recite in Arabic. ثم اضطجع فنام حتى نفخ. He laid down, slept, and began to snore. ثم أتاه المنادي. Then the caller for prayer, the person who wakes him up for prayer, came to the Prophet Muhammad. And he said to him, it is time to pray. فقام معه إلى الصلاة. Therefore the Prophet Muhammad woke up and went with the person who woke him up to go and pray together. فصلى ولم يتوضأ. And Prophet Muhammad prayed without washing himself, without purifying himself. This shows you that the Prophet who taught these 95% of the Muslims to wash themselves before praying, he himself does not wash himself. He himself is a hypocrite. And he himself has no prayer that is accepted. This is what they believe in. This is the hypocrisy within the Bukhari. Now we Shia, we don't even believe the Prophet needs wudu to begin with. The Prophet and Imam Ali, they don't need wudu. They are pure. Jesus, Moses, all messengers of God are pure. Yes, Umar ibn al-Khattab needs wudu. Umar ibn al-Khattab, who spread Islam by the sword, he needs wudu. He needs purification. As for a prophet, it doesn't make sense. So number 1 we have here, let's make a list of this, and I advise you to make a list along with me. So we have a prophet who is not pure when praying. If we move to page number 47, segment 14, it says here what is much worse than what we had just listened to. It states that a man by the name of Abdullah bin Umar, he says, فَرَأَيْتُ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ يَقْضِي حَاجَتَهِ مُسْتَدْبِرَ الْقِبْلَةِ مُسْتَقْبِلَ الشَّامِ, which means I saw the messenger of God, I saw the apostle of God in public performing his number 1 and number 2 in the middle of the street while facing Sham. Sham basically means Palestine. In another tradition, it says that he was seen مستقبل بيت المقدس. He was seen facing towards Masjid al-Aqsa. Now we have the Palestinians, they're fighting for Masjid al-Aqsa. They're fighting for the Aqsa Mosque in Israel. And here the same Muslims tell us that their Prophet used to do number 1 and number 2 facing towards that direction. Deliberately. This is the Prophet you believe in. And this is the Bakri version of the Prophet. This is the Umari version. And a prophet from God in the middle of the street doing number 1, number 2 for everyone to see him. And it gets reported in history after 1,400 years. And you're proud to be following such a prophet? If we come down to page 62, it states, أتى النبي, the prophet came, فبال قائما ثم دعا بماء فجئته بماء فتوضأ. Which basically means Prophet Muhammad came and he urinated while standing up. He wanted water, we got him water. Then he performed ablution, he performed the wudu in order to pray. The problem is in Australian media, the radical preachers in Sydney tell me and you that if you stand when you urinate, you are doing an act that is like the act of animals. That's what they say. They say only animals stand and urinate. And here the very Prophet stands and urinates. I will show you. I'm not here making things up here. All highlighted in yellow for you. I'll bring it up to the camera. That the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, urinated when standing. Which means he's a hypocrite. And he has no ethics, according to the Bukhari. So now we have a Prophet who urinates when standing like an animal. Like an animal. This is the book that forms Sharia law. Let's read what's in this book. Come to page 72 of volume 1 of Sahih Al-Bukhari. This one here is worse. Yani, as you go deeper into the book, the worse it gets for you. It states here, كان النبي يدور على نسائه في الساعة الواحدة من الليل والنهار وهن 11. قال قلت لأنس أو كان يطيقه؟ قال كنا نتحدث أنه أعطي قوة 30. What does this mean? It means that the Prophet Muhammad used to visit all of his wives, and they were 11, and he would engage with them all in sexual intimacy. And he would do that during the day and during the night. And all 11 of them. And he wouldn't wash himself. He would not wash himself between each wife. So the person who narrated this report, he said, is this true? That Prophet Muhammad has the ability to satisfy 11 women? Here it says, he was given the power of 30 men. Yeah, Bukhari, who are you trying to fool? Who are you trying to fool? When you read this is the Prophet Muhammad that we were taught. I didn't bring this from Jupiter. This is the book for the greatest scholar in Islam after the Quran, according to 95% of the Muslims. I didn't make this up. It's in the Bukhari. I'm more than happy to bring this on any platform and we'll debate about it. This is very sad. Very sad. Prophet Muhammad, who you love and you go around killing people for. This is your hypocrisy. This is what you believe about your Prophet. This is the issue when we say ISIS came from Sunni Islam and they are doing what they are doing in Iraq. Or everything is focused about the sexual desires that they have. Blow yourself up to get 72 virgins. This is your Prophet. Running around during the day and the night. He has nothing better to do. God sent him to engage in intimacy. He had nothing better to do, according to your most important source. Now this, and we're still on page 72. We're still on page 72 over here. Page 72. We haven't even reached page 100. And it just gets worse. This is volume 1. Volume 1 from Sahih Al-Bukhari. As we are going through these books, you will see that the level of intellect and integrity and dignity and respect that the author has when speaking to his people regarding his own Prophet is very low. Very low level of respect when speaking about the Prophet. And none of us would want 1,400 years down the track to have a most important book circulated everywhere, considered sacred, that contains matters of your private lifestyle, matters of how you would deal with your wife. These are shameful things, and these are present in every mosque. And this is why our youth focus on the 72 virgins. Because if their Prophet is running around after women 24/7, in the day and in the night. في الليل والنهار. It's written in the book. During the day and during the night. Then we cannot blame the radicals for wanting 72 virgins. Now we come to page 221. 221. The chapter of jihad begins. And this is the problem that we have when it comes to jihad. This here is volume 2 from Sahih Al-Bukhari, the most sacred book after the Holy Quran. And this here is the chapter of jihad, so nobody says we're making things up. Chapter of jihad. We will open the chapter of jihad that is present in all of our mosques. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for importing these books from overseas. Segment number 7 in chapter 6 of volume 2, page number 223, as I have highlighted for you. I don't know how clear that is. I can provide you with scans if you like. The name of the chapter says it all. The name is called Bab Tamanni al-Shahada. The chapter of loving martyrdom. I want the Grand Mufti to answer me, what does this mean exactly? Because I know they will say it took it out of context. No problem. I'm an Imam and I've taken it out of context. You explain, please. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله والذي نفسي بيده لوددت أني أقتل في سبيل الله ثم أحيا ثم أقتل ثم أحيا ثم أقتل ثم أحيا ثم أقتل. What does that mean? It means that Prophet Muhammad says, I vow by God that I wish that I could be killed for the sake of Allah, then brought back to life, then killed, then brought back to life, then killed, then brought back to life, then killed once again, and then you go become a martyr and you go and you get your 72 virgins. And this is not something that we are just reading. This is not a magazine. This is Sahih Al-Bukhari. The authentic. Sahih means authentic. After intense filtration for 1,200 years, this is what we have now come with to form the religion of Islam. So when you see its non-stop attacks towards the West, you know why. Because they themselves wish to die, come back to life, to die again, come back to life, and die and come and non-stop. This love for death that they have, I don't know where it comes from. Do you know where it comes from? It comes from this book. When you wonder, what is the root for terrorism? This book. This here. When the Muslim is taught that your Prophet wishes to die and come back to life once again, just in order to die again, you can't blame the 15-year-old and the 17-year-old and the 22-year-old to want to go and blow themselves up. You cannot blame them. This is in the book. And this book is in Australia. This book is... Why the Prophet would say such a thing? According to Albukhari. Why would the Prophet say such a thing? Very easy. You read in page 348. I'll lift it up again for you. 348. This says, segment number 11, chapter 59. It says, Bab Sifat Iblis wa Junudih. The characteristics of Satan, of Shaitan, of Satan and his soldiers. Then we have a testimony from Aisha. Aisha is the wife of Prophet Muhammad, who was also a terrorist. after the life of Prophet Muhammad. She was leading an army that killed many people, tens of thousands of people in Basra, also known by the Battle of the Camel. Aisha, this is the 7-year-old wife, apparently, is that she was either 6 to 13 by the 95% of the Muslims. The majority believe she was underage. Yes, I will not deny. Here, the very lady, Aisha, says, and Aisha, hadith number 3268. She says, سحر النبي حتى كان يخيل إليه أنه يفعل الشيء وما يفعله. It means that the Prophet Muhammad was possessed. He was possessed. He was a crazy, delusional man. To the extent, حتى, she says, حتى كان يخيل إليه, to the point that he would start imagining things. And he would consider that he has done things when he didn't do anything. So, when you find the Prophet saying, I want to die and come back and die and come back, it's because they believe he's a delusional man. They believe he's a psychopath. They believe he's being possessed, which is even worse. How can an apostle of God be possessed by jinns? This is what they believe. Page 348. We're not making this up. Let's come to page 300. Page 377. It states that the Prophet in 3372, Prophet Muhammad used to doubt in previous prophets, which clearly contradicts the Holy Quran. The Quran says, مَا نُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ أَحَدٍ مِّن رُسُلِهِ. We do not differentiate between any of God's messengers. Here the Prophet Muhammad says, أن رسول الله قال نحن أحق بالشك من إبراهيم إذ قال رب أرني كيف تحيي الموتى. Prophet Muhammad says that we are more worthy to doubt in the words of God than Abraham when he said, Oh God, show me, how can you give life to the dead person? If someone's dead, how can you give life? Show me. So the Prophet Muhammad himself, according to 95% of the Muslims, was a delusional man. According to Sunni Islam, this is Albukhari. So if your Prophet was doubting in his own message, in the revelation that had come to him, we're up to volume 3. Volume 3 from Sahih Al-Bukhari, غلط البخاري. Volume 3. And here I have a challenge. I have a big challenge right now. 3. Let me take you to page 462. States, Hadith number 5445. Segment number 44. The door or the chapter of the dates. Dates. قال رسول الله, it says, the Prophet Muhammad says, من تصبح كل يوم 7 تمرات لم يضره في ذلك اليوم سم ولا سحر. It states over here, because I want to show you the accuracy of this book that is killing our people. I want to show you the accuracy. It says over here, whoever wakes up and eats dates, whether they be 7 or different reports, whoever eats dates will be immune to poisoning during that day. Whoever eats dates will not be affected by any poison. It says over here, sum, which means any poison. Okay. I have a challenge. I have here dates. And I have here kerosene. I have here kerosene. And I have a cup of water. I have an empty cup, a glass. So you can see perfectly. If it is true, then come. Here, I have 2 dates for you. I have 2 dates and it's iftar time. Now you're breaking your fast. 2 dates. And I will pour you a cup of kerosene from Bunnings Warehouse. Come drink. Yalla Habibi, come. Come drink, and I want to see how you will not end up in the hospital. If you end up in the hospital, then you have done that to yourself for the sake of your own faith. If you end up dying or you end up with serious injury, then you're a victim of your own faith. This is what you believe in. This is nonsense. This is volume 3. Now we're up to volume 4. And volume 4 is a tragedy within a tragedy within a tragedy. Volume 4 from Sahih Al-Bukhari. Volume 4 Sahih Al-Bukhari. Page 16. It says, the chapter of medicine with the urine of the camel. Tafaddal. Chapter of medicine with the urine of the camel. Medicine, medication, cure with the urine of the camel. Let's read. It states, a group of people came and visited the Prophet in Medina, which means he had a government. I don't believe the Prophet had a government, but I believe he had a strong establishment. We'll speak about the government of the Prophet in a different time. As for now, they came to Medina, where the Prophet had his religion established. And they became sick. What do they do when you become sick and you have the Prophet? He's the best doctor to the sick people that came to him. And what did he do when they took his prescription and ran with it? What did he do to them? فَأَمَرَهُمُ النَّبِي, they were sick. فَأَمَرَهُمُ النَّبِي, he ordered them, أَنْ يَلْحَقُوا بِرَاعِيهِ, that they go after the owner of the camel. يعني الإبل, it states here, يعني الإبل, which means the camel. فَيَشْرَبُوا مِنْ أَلْبَانِهَا وَأَبْوَالِهَا, to drink from its milk and urine. فَلَحَقُوا بِرَاعِيهِ فَشَرِبُوا مِنْ أَلْبَانِهَا وَأَبْوَالِهَا. Not only did they listen and ignore, no, they actually chased the man who had the camel, and they stopped the camel, and they drank from the camel's urine, and they drank from the camel's milk. حتى صلحت أبدانهم. حتى صلحت أبدانهم. Until their bodies became strong again, and now they have the ability to go back to where they once came on foot, and they're strong, and everything is well. They're no longer sick because of the cure in the camel's urine. So what did they do now that they are strong? فَقَتَلُوا الرَّاعِي وَسَاقُوا الْإِبِلِ. After they drank from the camel's urine, they killed the owner of the camel and they stole the camel. Watch. The Prophet orders them to go and drink urine from the camel. They go, they drink the urine and the milk, and then they kill the owner, they steal the camel, and they come back. Listen to this. فَبَلَغَ النَّبِي, the Prophet heard. Prophet Muhammad heard. فَبَعَثَ فِي طَلَبِهِمْ فَجِيءَ بِهِمْ. So he said to his companions, go bring these two people who did this to the owner of the camel. So they brought them. What did Prophet Muhammad do? فَقَطَعَ أَيْدِيَهُمْ وَأَرْجُلَهُمْ, according to them. The Prophet here chopped their hands and their legs. Why? Because they stole a camel. It states, فَقَطَعَ أَيْدِيَهُمْ وَأَرْجُلَهُمْ وَسَمَّرَ أَعْيُنَهُمْ. And he brought two nails, the nails that you would use for the wall, and he poked their eyes with it. This is a terrorist. Here, can you please explain? We just went through 4 volumes. Can you please explain to me? Because what I did now, I translated what is in the book. That's all I did. I did not add anything from myself. I translated what's in the book. Therefore, this is the very book that teaches us jihad. And this is the very book that teaches the Muslims how to love their Prophet. We saw their Prophet, and we saw the jihad, and we saw exactly what Bukhari teaches. Can you please respond to me about exactly what's written in these books? And why is it not written in the English version for the people to read? This is not sectarianism. I'm not here to make divisions within the community. I myself, I am an outcast from the community. But I am calling for reformation. We clearly have a problem in the books that we consider to be sacred scriptures. If this is the book you use to interpret the Quran, then you cannot blame people to hate your Quran. You cannot blame people to hate your Quran. If this is the intellect that we are displaying our religion with to the world, then may God be with the world and may God be with the religion. Because this is clearly something wrong. I stand against this book and against the author of this book. And I do not consider it to be sacred at all. I do not believe in them at all. I am a kafir in this book. I do not believe in it at all. I believe in the Prophet that loved Moses and loves Jesus. And we have a study, but the problem is only a minority believe in that study.